Hi, welcome to the Hank Haney Podcast, brought to you by haneyuniversity.com. That's my website there, the haneyuniversity.com website. You can go there and check out all the information about golf lessons from me, how to get better golf. You can register for my free instructional videos. You can find out information about my new golf studio in Deerfield, Illinois, that is under construction right now and will open soon. And you can find out about online golf lessons as well. All right, today's podcast, we are going to talk about the much anticipated first night of the TGL. This is the Tiger Golf League that is known as the Tomorrow Golf League, but it is the Tiger Golf League. Let's make no mistake about that. So this is the indoor simulator golf. They had their first event, Team Bay something against Team something something. I don't know about the team thing. I like the team thing, but I don't even remember the names of the teams. But anyway, Bay versus something else. I probably should have kept closer track to that. But the recap of the event in my mind goes like this. First off, this was highly anticipated in my mind. I really wanted to see what this was going to be like. I have high hopes for the TGL, and I'm going to tell you that I was not disappointed. I thought it was very, very good. Very good. Now, was it great? I think it was pretty close to great in my mind because I wasn't expecting I'm watching people online and they're talking about this and they're going, oh, this is this and this is that, and it just didn't, they didn't do this and they didn't do that. And I'm like, what did you expect? This is not a golf tournament. This isn't traditional golf. I mean, I'm old. I'm 69 years old, but I'm not like so stodgy that I can't accept something that's new and fresh and different. And they were obviously, as I heard people talking, they're obviously going after a younger audience. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, the ratings were good. They got like 1.2 million average viewers. They got like 3.2 million unique visitors. I don't know what that means. That means like 3.2 million people tuned in for a minute or two or something. Those are decent numbers, better than any college basketball game was going to get. I thought the production, in terms of the setup, the technology, I mean, my God, come on. I mean, you got to give them a little credit there. That was unbelievable. I mean, that green floating up and down, simulating different breaks. As soon as they hit the ball, it pops up where that ball is relative to the pin, and they go right there and mark it. Hitting into that huge screen. I thought the holes were cool. They weren't playing a specific course, but playing kind of made up holes. That was pretty neat too. I thought it was really good. I mean, I thought it was really good for what it is. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be like the U.S. Open. But when you really break it down and you think about golf, and I've been saying this now for a couple of years because everybody's on the LIV and they say, oh, LIV is just an exhibition. What's the PGA Tour? Like everything's an exhibition. I mean, every single thing is an exhibition. Like the PGA Tour event, they're exhibitions. I mean, you win a trophy, you win money. The best thing about winning a PGA Tour event is you get to play in more PGA Tour events. You get a 2-year exemption, or winning a PGA Tour event, you get to play in the Masters. I mean, that's what it. Well, I mean, you're not gonna, win a simulator golf game and get an invitation to the Masters. So they're really, it's all an exhibition, and that's kind of what golf is. But is that any different than any other sport? I mean, what are those 162 or whatever they play a year baseball games? I mean, until they get to the World Series and the playoffs, it's kind of nothing. The NBA, what is that? I mean, they play 82 games, and I mean, they play for seeding. The football, they play for seeding. They try to make it matter. But, for some of these teams that start off, in the season and they're 0-4 or whatever, or 0-10 in basketball or whatever in hockey, and they're out of the playoffs, and they are, the season's not even half over, and 12 teams in the NHL are already out of the playoffs. What is the rest of the season for those guys? They're exhibitions. They're still going to draw fans. People are still going to come watch. People are still going to enjoy the games, but they're not playing for anything. What are they playing for? Oh, we beat so and so. Well, they won one game, but people go to be entertained, and I think that's why people are going to watch on TV. They're gonna watch to be entertained. Maybe they're golfers. Maybe they just love the game. Maybe they watch everything that there is in golf. Maybe it's just background TV. There's a lot of ESPN gets a certain amount of ratings just on background TV. I mean, the ESPN's on, and pretty much every bar, in the world, it's just it's on TV. So they're going to get a certain amount of ratings just from being on ESPN, and they can't put a blank screen up there, and they want to put different stuff. You can't just keep rerunning the same baseball games and the same football games and the same shows. So they want fresh stuff, fresh new stuff. People look at the TV, it's up in a bar, and they look up there and think, wow, that looks pretty cool. What is that? And they don't even have the sound on, and it's a boom. They get a rating. They filled up their station. I take it for what it is. I take all this stuff for what it is. If it's good for golf, I love it. And I'll tell you what, a big thing in golf right now is this simulator golf. I'm getting ready to open up an indoor studio for simulators. Of course, I love this TGL. I mean, I want it to do great. I hope it does. But that technology was freaking amazing. I mean, the green, the balls, the hitting, the how it worked. Nothing broke. I love the robot, with the camera. I mean, before you would have had a guy running around back there, and it's a guy, and it's just distracting, and they got a little robot doing it. That was pretty cool. Now, one thing to note, the robot is so close to the ground that when you take a video of a golfer from that low to the ground and you shoot the camera up, you really distort the swing a lot. The swing's always going to be distorted. Ideally, if you were videoing a golf swing, you would have the camera start down low and it would kind of work up high at an angle as the club goes up. So if you start at waist high, it's a good average, and you're going to have less distortion of the takeaway in the top of the swing. If you start down low, you're going to have no distortion in the takeaway, but you're going to have a lot of distortion at the top of the swing. So as a coach and as a teacher, and I'm analyzing swings, and I'm looking at swings, and I'm enjoying looking at swings, you can't really, you're not seeing much. You're not seeing much because from that camera angle, it's pretty hard to see. And they don't really have them exactly behind, they're just kind of showing the whole thing. So that was something that, I like to look at golf swings. Not ideal for that, but that's okay. I mean, it was okay. I think they got like 6 teams in this league. People were a little bent out of shape, wondering why, Tiger's their main thing. Why don't they start off with Tiger? I thought that was a pretty good move not to start off with Tiger. It was gutsy. I mean, you start off with Tiger, you get better ratings, and you say, whoa, this is great. And then the second week, the ratings go down, and you think, okay, did people not like it the first week? Or was it, the fact that Tiger's not there the second week? Okay, so they went, no Tiger the first week, no Rory, although Rory's partners in this deal with Tiger. And I think he'd like to think he is, but he's not a needle mover. I mean, Tiger's the needle mover. So they went with no Rory, no Tiger, and came out with some pretty good ratings. So now they're pretty much guaranteed to at least have 2 weeks of really solid ratings. And in that second week, with Tiger on there, they're probably going to have better ratings than they had the first week, because they'll pump up that Tiger's going to be playing, and that'll be a big thing. And now you're off, you kind of got a little momentum. You're off and going. So I think that was strategically a pretty smart move for TGL. I think it was really smart move. Actually, I think that was a great move, and that was that makes a lot of sense. Now, it also gives them a chance to make their improvements that they're going to make, because they're going to make some improvements, and they see, okay, we saw how this came off. We got to change some things up. We're going to change, even if it's just camera angles or this or that, or they're going to change things up. They had a few things that people have commented on that make sense. Well, I'll talk about those in a second, but it gives them a chance to change. And then they also come in with Tiger. So now he draws a bigger audience as they've made the changes. Pretty good, pretty smart. That was a good move by them. You got to give them credit for that. And it's not the U.S. Open. Like these people that are on there and say Twitter and whatever, and they're saying, it's not real golf. What did you think it was going to be? It isn't real golf, but it's something to watch if you're a golfer. Fast. TGL. Let me just throw this out there. TGL is going to change golf for the better in multiple ways. And one of the ways is going to be the greatest change that's ever happened in golf. How about that? That's what I'm going to tell you. Okay. TGL is going to change golf because simulator golf is going to be bigger. That's going to be good. Okay. But the biggest change that's going to happen, the biggest change is that the PGA Tour, the World Golf Tour, European Tour, whatever it's called, they are going to finally get off their rear ends and fix slow play. Because universally, everybody who watched TGL liked the shot clock and the pace of the play. And it proved that those touring pros can play faster. And it just flowed, and it was fast. And matter of fact, too fast maybe. Well, no big deal. Add a few more seconds to the shot clock. But I think that TGL is going to put slow play to bed. And that's going to be the greatest change that ever has happened in golf. That's going to be it right there. That is my hot sports take right there. I think they are going to be responsible for it. You're going to look back. You're going to say the PGA Tour is playing faster now. The game has improved a lot. And the credit is going to go to TGL and their shot clock. All right, let's talk about the playing for nothing. People on the X have talked about, they're not playing for. What are they going to play for? What are you playing for? I don't get the comment. What are you playing for on what are you playing for on the PGA Tour? You got millionaires playing for $1 million. What's that going to do? When you have the match, the made for TV deal, they say, well, we'll play for 10 million. That doesn't create anybody, play for whatever, play for 100 million. It's not going to change. It's like everybody thinks, well, that guy doesn't need 100 million. He's got 100 million. That does, is nobody puts themselves in. I wonder what I'd feel like playing for 100 million. Nobody can relate to it. They're really not playing for anything. So I don't really see, what do you want them to play for? What are the Chicago Blackhawks and the San Jose Sharks playing for? When they play next time, they're the two last place teams. What are they playing for? They're not playing for anything. They're playing for pride. They want to win. They want, it's an exhibition. So I don't get the playing for nothing. Because in golf, it really boils down to you're really just playing, for something 4 weeks a year, the majors. That's it. And you can throw in the Ryder Cup if you want to, but the Ryder Cup was and always is an exhibition too. So you're just playing to entertain. People play golf, they participate in golf, and they like to watch good players play golf. That's what they do. I thought that criticism is kind of, I don't know, what do you want? What do you want them to do? What do you want them to play for? Now, Could they make it so that they're playing for, maybe they should have some side betting. Maybe they should, have the guys up there, hey, I'll bet you 500 closest to the pin here, whatever. And they, you lose, you got to, get in your pocket right away. I mean, that's something people can relate to because that's what people do on the golf course. Maybe not for 500, but they'll make a little bet. But I don't know if the playing for anything really matters, to be honest with you. They're all competitors. They don't want to lose. They want to get their butts kicked. One of the things that's missing, and I knew it would be missing because I hear this all the time. Okay, I hear this all the time. People talk about the announcers. Okay, and they're telling. I watched the preview of this thing, the TGL, and they got the announcer on. He said, it's going to be great with all the open mics and everybody's going to have all this banter. And I'm like, no, they won't. They said the same thing. They said the same thing about the match. They said the same thing about the other match. They said the same thing about this match. They said the same thing about, they said the same thing all the way back to the Skins game. It's going to be open mics, all this banter. There was a little banter when Lee Trevino was on there. And not a lot of banter when most of those guys are on there. How much banter was there? Listen, if the guys were on there and they knew they had no consequences and they knew they could say anything they wanted and it wouldn't be, all over social media or their sponsors would be upset. If they, were out there and hammered or, drunk and everything was flying and the F-bombs were flying and everything else. And okay, that would probably be entertaining. See, this is what people see. I put all these exhibitions together. They see these pros having so much fun playing with one, and they say, man, this would be great if this was televised. And as soon as they get on that TV, they all just clam up. They all clam up. And they don't. And then everybody says, oh, man, you know what this needs? This needs Charles Barkley. He could get these guys to loosen up. Like everything needs Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley's like the greatest announcer ever. He could make anything better. There's only one Charles Barkley. He can't do every sport, because he could make a baseball game more interesting. He could make a football game more interesting. He could make a last place hockey game more interesting. He could make everything more interesting. But that's not the answer. The answer is you got to get these players to have some conversation. So you got to get the announcers to stop talking. Nobody. I don't even know who the announcer. Matt something. Great guy. Great announcer. But I don't want to hear the announcer. I just want to hear the players. Like it's minimal talking from the announcers. I want to hear talking from the players. And the problem they got these open mics, and a lot of people mention this. So they got 6 mics open. You can't even tell who's talking. You can tell when Shane Lowry's talking because he's from Ireland, but you can't tell who these guys are that are talking. So that's a little issue. It's always going to be an issue. And that's why they got to pick guys. They've got to pick guys with personality. Like all the pros play good. And frankly, for most of them, they have limited name recognition. After you get past Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy, okay, you got Justin Thomas. Who's got name recognition? There's not a lot of them. They flashed that first team up there, and they had Shane Lowry and Matthew Fitzpatrick. And I can't remember what the teams were, and they had Ricky Fowler. I think those guys were on the same team. Maybe they weren't even on the same team. This is the thing. Nobody knows who these teams are, but you can't remember it the next day. But they do an interview, and the first person they interview is Ricky Fowler. I'm like, Ricky Fowler's won 4 golf tournaments in his whole career. He's done a lot of commercials, but he's won like 4 golf tournaments, something like that. Maybe he's won more than that. I don't know. He ain't won many. You got Shane Lowry. He's a Open Championship winner. You got Matthew Fitzpatrick standing right next to him. He's a U.S. Open champion winner. They're both major champion winners. And they're doing the majority of the interview was with this little first interview was with Ricky Fowler because more people know him. And he'll, come with a little something. And then they go over to Matthew Fitzpatrick and, he sort of says a little something. They throw him a token question. And then Shane Lowry, they throw him a token question. They've got to get that loosened up. Now, I don't know how they're going to do that because here's the thing. Everybody says they're going to do it and nobody does it. And you know what's going to happen next week? When they play next week, it's going to be better because Tiger's going to be out there and it's his deal. And they're going to tell him, Tiger, we need more banner going. You got to get it going. And that's probably going to happen. So, but that's going to make it the Tiger Woods show, which it is anyways. But that's going to make it the Tiger Woods show. And then what happens the next week? And so maybe what's going to happen is the star of the show is not going to be the guy who hits it the closest to the hole. The star of the show is going to be the guy that can carry the telecast. And there's not many guys that can do that. As a matter of fact, are there any golfers that can do that? Tiger. Rory probably thinks he can. Bryson DeChambeau, he's lived golf, so he's not going to be out there. So that's the thing that would throw it off the charts. They have to make it like a reality TV show. That's what it is. It's not a golf tournament. It's a reality TV show. And if they can do that and get it just more like that, then I think it's got a chance to be pretty darn good. I already thought it was pretty darn good. I took it for what it was. And the shot clock was fantastic. It's going to change golf. It's going to change golf. All right, that's my thoughts on the first week of the TGL. Overall, I would say very good. Very good. Very good. Probably exceeded my expectations. How about that? And I'm thinking it's going to be even a lot better next week. And next week, we'll check it out again. Hope everybody has a great day, and we will talk to you soon on the Hank Haney Podcast.